Pikachu one, which is my very first one, that was with Pikachu printed fabric, and that was cheating because it was just Pikachu printed fabric. But the other three that I made, that was Mew, Umbreon, and Gyarados. There's no printed fabric. The three of them, they're just purely design based. I just picked out the color themes and the elements from the Pokemon and then integrated that into the hanbok. Hi, I'm Kandace, and this is how I started sewing hanboks as an interracial marriage. And it was important for me to bring my part of my culture to the table. Also, it's important for me to support his culture as well. I feel like I don't know very much about Korean culture or history or whatever, but one thing that I can do is to make clothes. And so this is my way of showing my support to my husband's culture by making fun hanboks for the kids to wear so that they can celebrate the Koreanness. My husband is Korean, and for our son's first birthday, they traditionally wear a hanbok during their birthday celebration. So we didn't have much resources. It wasn't readily available. So my in-laws had one Korea. And I guess he wasn't very used to the texture of the fabric. So he didn't like wearing it, and he was kind of uncomfortable because it's not something he's used to. I had this idea in my mind, like one day I want to make something that he enjoys wearing. That's a hanbok that he enjoys wearing. And I think I did this twice. And it was fun to see the way they wear it. In a way, like, you know, they're wearing something that he made. You know, it's just like there's something inside that I feel like really proud of. So they did that, and I've been doing other things where I'm matching with my kid, or we're matching together as a family, or they match the three of them within themselves with the Pokemon-inspired Hanbok. And yeah, it's just fun. They have their own special favorite kind of Pokemon, and they have to tell me the name of it, and I have to search the Korean name in English because sometimes the name of the Korean Pokemon is not the same in English. I come up with the main theme, the color palette, the identifying feature of the Pokemon, and then I just make it. So Pokemon Hanbok, I don't sell them, but I make them for the kids. Yes, and back then I was sewing, but back in the day, there were not enough circulation of sewing patterns for hanbok. So the sewing pattern is just like the disassembled version of a piece of clothing, and they just cut it out from the fabric and put it together. So they don't have a lot of that. Now they have a lot on Etsy, but back then they didn't have very much, and they were all in Korean, and so I was very lost. So that was out of the question. I said one day when I go to Korea, I want to make one. And so we had our second kid, and then eventually our third kid, and I was like, you know, it'd be so fun to make matching sets for them. So we made matching sets. After we moved to Korea, the first thing that I purchased was a hanbok sewing pattern. So I started with that, and what it essentially is just a big piece of paper, and you have to cut out the size that you want and then just sew it up. The only problem is that the instructions are in Korean, and sometimes the translating apps don't really translate it very well. I kind of just look at the picture on the instruction and figure it out. So that's been what I've been doing, and I like to, how do you say, I've never been to an actual sewing class before. All my sewing knowledge is from sharing from friends and over YouTube or Instagram. So it's a lot of self-learning, and the way that I learn is I will take one design and sew that over and over and over again. And each time I sew it, I will identify at least one thing that I need to change and be better at. I've only actively been sewing hanboks for 3 years now. It has improved a lot in a short amount of time because of my learning style. That's the only reason, because I've been focusing all my effort and learning on one thing for 3 years. And so, I mean, it's sooner or later that you get better at it. So yeah, I got married to my husband in America, and we lived in 2 states there. And then we moved to Japan and lived in 2 cities there. And we are finally here in Korea, Busan. I've lived away from Singapore since I was about 20. It's been 13 years so far. And I feel as I am away from Singapore, I feel more Singaporean. And I feel the importance of remembering my country, remembering where I'm from, my languages, and the culture revolving that. I'm Singaporean, yes. I used to be able to say the Singapore pledge in Tamil. I learned it when I was in Sec 3 or Sec 4. I had a tutor who was Malaysian, but he spoke Tamil. It was the time where the guy who wrote the Singapore pledge, he passed away. And my secondary school was doing a thing where they were saying the Singapore pledge in a different language every day. So I thought the Tamil version was so cool. So I went to the government website and found like a recording of the Singapore pledge, and I wrote it out in my English kind of thing. And so he corrected me, and then I memorized it. But I think there's some parts that I'm a bit wrong, but I won't know any better. Singapore kuri makalage nam inam modi madam age vitru megale madam undru pattu nara magilchi vallam munetram age vitru ariya vallam samatur teyam niri ayam adipodaiyaga kundu jananayaga samudayate uruvakkuruvarukku urudimukkum pomaga. I probably got that wrong. Also, my kids know how to sing like the Kit Chan home song. They sing that, and they know how to sing the national anthem. So they're also very Singaporean. They've visited. Oh, my youngest one was only born there. We haven't visited back since she was born, but they've been there. They like pandan cake and laksa. Yeah, so I've only had that one done with like the Singapore Airlines inspired fabric. I have that one done for the dress, and I've made a skirt for myself with that. But I haven't like, how do you say? It's a bit difficult because Singapore doesn't really have their own like Singaporean attire. Each of the races have their own traditional costumes, but there isn't like one Singaporean one. So I'm kind of going with just like the SQ batik. I take custom orders mostly for girl dress handbooks and sometimes for lady skirts. In the near future, I would love to expand it a bit more. Right now, it's a little bit difficult doing a full-time side hustle with 3 kids. Their schedules are quite crazy and it's very hard to commit to something, you know, with that kind of schedule. But I would love to, I plan to do something like that in the near future. So I'm on Instagram at Story.bok, which is the Hanbok, the book. B-O-K. I take custom orders, but even if you're not ordering anything, you can just send me a message to say hi. Yeah. Bye-bye. See ya.
Now, if you enjoyed this story, you would enjoy Kandace's latest creation called Milo Hanbok. She's made it while she was missing Singapore. And of course, I will leave you to her to tell you the full story on her platform. And if you want to see more such human stories, do stay with us on Growing Dot. Do subscribe to our channel. And my name is Bertram and I am the creator for Growing Dot. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!